Welcome back to the Rough Example Datsun 510 project. This weekend I've got a few updates regarding the fuel system. So I have been working on switching out my lines to AN. These are AN6 lines. I just bought a set on Amazon from the Evil Energy brand. That came with like 20 foot of the line and a few fittings and stuff. So I'd never done AN. I'd heard that it was kind of intimidating and easy to screw up and everything. But I just watched a few tutorials on YouTube and figured out how to do it, and it seems to have gone smoothly. Don't have any fuel pressure on it yet, but it seemed pretty straightforward. So I guess kind of one thing that gets a little bit complex is that this fuel rail uses these, they call it like a QC or quick connect fitting. So this thing kind of just snaps on there and then hooks up to your AN fitting on here. So I need to build this is going to be for the fuel return line. So I need to just build a little section of line that will go from here down to the fuel rail. I didn't have quite enough line to do that little section, so I'll have to get myself a few more feet for that. But sorry, it's kind of a mess in here with my little practice wiring harness. But I also drilled a hole through here this week and started bringing through all of my like alternator wiring and started wiring up the alternator here, and also got my oil pressure sensor hooked up. And so these are all just kind of mocked up, and eventually I will put a grommet in here and figure out what I want to do for like a bulkhead fitting, or some way to get the wires from the engine bay into the cabin. I've just kind of been waiting for these connectors to arrive. This just came in today. So I now have all of my connectors that I can splice onto the micro squirt harness. So got my map sensor, coolant temp, TPS, and the injectors are kind of buried back in there. I had to order connectors for the injectors as well, and I got those today. So once I have those all installed, then I can run that into the cabin. So if you come down here, I can kind of show you what I'm doing with the fuel lines that run underneath the car. So these right here, I have coming down into these P-clamps, and you'll note that they are not in there tight. I'm kind of just using these to mock everything up, and I had to order some that fit tighter against these, and I got the nice insulated rubber ones. So these are kind of just in here so that I could run the lines through them loosely, and it goes back through here and over the subframe in the back and up into the trunk. And I've got, so they both come up back in there. It's probably hard to see, but one of them comes up and I've got it run into this fuel filter. And then I'll have a fitting that will come off of this fuel filter into the barbed fitting on the tank. I've got one line on here that was just on there from before, but I'm going to replace this with all new stuff. So one of these is for the return line, one's for the feed. And so it kind of just transitions to AN back in there. Um, the other thing I've been working on is these gauges, um, and still trying to finish up the wiring in here. So if I go around to the other side, I can show you. I 3D printed this little gauge panel, um, and that is going to just fit in here. It's just like a single DIN pod that will go into that radio spot. These clamps right here are sitting a little bit high though. It kind of interferes. Um, but I'm not sure if I'm even going to run this particular gauge. I just had these laying around. Um, I kind of like them though. Like they're kind of vintage, but I don't have the third one for my air fuel ratio, so it's kind of just mismatched and goofy looking right now. But yeah, that'll go in there. I got all of this wiring run into a connector on the back of here. So these are all the wires for the indicator lights, like just for like the backlighting, as well as like the parking brake, oil pressure, and alternator charge lights that all go into this cluster. Um, so this one is almost ready to go. Once I am feeling confident about all of the wiring in here, then I can, I'm going to go in and clean up this harness, wrap it with the some kind of sheathing, whether it's the Tessa tape or the finger trap stuff. But I'll get this all cleaned up, made permanent, and kind of finalize that. I also went and installed this extra fuse block in here. I tried to put it into here, but I just didn't have enough extra fuses, so I had to do this one on here because I needed 3 more circuits for the micro squirt system. So like these 2 5-amp circuits are going to go out to the fuel injectors, and then the 3-amp is going to go over to power up the actual ECU. So I just kind of mounted that onto the top of this is my relay panel cover, so this will just clip up in there. But I just wanted to get that up and out of the way as well as I could. And just need to get these extra relays mounted up here at some point as well. So this is getting close, and I can go through and clean up this rat's nest. And then on the micro squirt harness, I went through and kind of separated out the different circuits. When you buy it, everything is just run through here, but I had to go through and separate out the wires. So I have like a sensor circuit, and then I have a bundle of stuff that's probably just going to get removed. So this is for like CAN bus and some little like alert light LED kind of things that I'm probably just not going to do. So that's everything I think I'm going to get rid of. These go out to the sensors, or excuse me, this goes to the ECU, I think. And then here's kind of the main branch that will go out to the engine, just fed through here, and goes to all the sensors and actuators. So this is getting a little bit closer. And I decided to install the micro squirt unit actually in the glove box. I know some purists are going to freak out because I cut this thing up, but kind of see it in there. So that way this will just sit in here like this, and then you've got access to all of your fuses, your relays, which are going to go here, and then the micro squirt harness is going to come across and just drop down through here. That seemed like, to me, the best way to get it up high out of the footwell, because I don't want people kicking it or interfering with it and stuff. So that's just kind of how I decided to do it. Anyhow, so that's it for the electrical this week, and then I can show you the kit that I had bought over here. So I've kind of got everything mixed in here. These are the old quick connect connectors. But I bought myself an AN wrench it's aluminum. It's supposed to not mar the fittings. But came with a bunch of everything, but this would go onto the main tube, and connects onto whatever else you're going to do. Like, for example, I need to use one of these barb connectors to transition to my fuel tank. So this will go onto that rubber hose and just screw into there. So yeah, the set came with a few different things. Some of these are mixed in from the fuel filter that I bought. That's what these big ones are. And then it came with these clamps that you can use to keep the lines organized. I had originally thought that I could just drill a hole in these and use these to mount onto the chassis. I still could, but the screws are like really small. It's just teeny, and I'm worried that they're not going to be strong enough. So I think I'm just going to use the P clamps instead, because they just kind of seem a little bit chintzy for that. And then it also came with this tool that you use to put into the tube, and it kind of just flares the PTFE lining on the inside, just to make sure that it's perfectly round when you put it together, so that you don't get have like a kink in there or something and have it go together wrong. But yeah, I think that is all of my updates for this weekend. So next week I'm hoping to have the fuel system all dialed in. Hopefully I'll be able to put some fuel in the tank and actually start up the fuel pump, see if it's pumping and getting the gas up to the fuel rail, and from there then I can get the wiring done and try and fire this thing up. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a great day.